Hi, you guys. I'm your host, Eileen, and welcome to another episode of MVP. I have been trying to get on the mic, and here I am. This master's program is really kicking my butt, but I do understand that like next year I'll graduate or whatnot. But it's okay, it's fine. But I'm off resting. Thank God. I just need to go find another school, but it's fine. I'm going through things in life, but you know what? We're all good. But this case that I want to discuss, the murder of Skylar Neese, is because I was thinking about life, and I remember having friends, and some friends last, others don't. And it happens for the simple fact that people grow apart, and when people grow apart, things start to shift in people's friendships. However, I just think that we outgrow friendships, and the best thing to do is sometimes, like people are in your life for a season or a reason. So the adult thing to do is to, I guess, life takes us different paths, and and friends are no longer friends or whatever. And that's about it. But this is not what happened with Skylar, and it's unfortunate because these are the people that you think are your friends. You hang out with these girls, and all of a sudden, now these girls have ulterior motives. And that's the thing. Wow, this case is so sad. So, viewer discretion is advised, right? And since you can't view me, sorry, then discretion is advised on this because this episode is kind of heavy. Um, but anyway, you guys are listening to Murder, Blood, and Psychopaths, and today's episode takes us to a quiet town in West Virginia, a place where a tight knit community was shattered by the unthinkable. And this is the story of Skylar Neese, a bright, kind 16-year-old girl who thought she was going for a midnight joyride with her best friends. Instead, she never came home. So, Skylar Annette Neese was born on February 10th, 1996, the only child of Mary and Dave Neese, in honor, student at University High School. Skylar was ambitious and dreamed of becoming a criminal defense attorney. She worked part time at Wendy's and was known for her smile, wit, and intelligence. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming in her closest friendships. So Skylar's two best friends were Sheila and Rachel. So Sheila, Eddie, and Rachel Sheoff. I don't even care if that's the way you pronounce it, but Sheila had known Skylar since they were 8 years old. And Rachel joined the friend group in high school. So Skylar and Rachel, Sheila and Skylar had already established rapport way before Rachel comes into the picture. So imagine this, you knowing someone for 8 years. And it's crazy to me that someone that just joined high school, they show more loyalty towards people that just come just the other day and don't know the dynamics, to just kind of sort of where your best friend since the eighth grade shifts. And it sucks. Now, so Rachel joined the friend group in high school, as I said, but by summer of 2012, tensions were rising, largely due to the growing closeness between Sheila and Rachel. So Rachel and Sheila were secretly in a romantic relationship, and Skylar may have felt excluded. In her diary, Skylar hinted at unease during a sleepover where the girls had been drinking. What seemed like a minor rift was soon turned into a deadly conspiracy. So now I want to take you to the disappearance. So she disappeared on July 5th, 2012, which is after the 4th of July. Um, After her shift at Wendy's, Skylar returned to her family's apartment in Star City. And at 12:30 a.m., surveillance footage captured her climbing out of her bedroom window and getting into a car belonging to Sheila Eddy. Her parents discovered her missing the next morning. Her contact lenses, charger, and essentials were left behind, and those were clear signs that she intended to come back. Um, but the thing is that she never did. Now, Rachel and Sheila had planned everything. So they packed knives, bleach, clean clothes, and towels, and they lowered Skylar to a remote area in Brave, Pennsylvania, a spot they had visited before to smoke marijuana. Once there, the girls claimed to have forgotten a lighter. As Skylar turned her back to retrieve one from the car, they counted one, two, three, and then they attacked. Skylar fought back, managing to injure Rachel, but she was overpowered. After over 50 stab wounds, Skylar lay still. Her friends tried to bury her, but the rocky ground made it impossible. So they covered her up with branches and drove away. Initially, Skylar was labeled a runaway, which I don't know why they do that, so no Amber Alert was issued. As months passed with no leads, her parents fought to keep the case alive, posting flyers and urging authorities to dig deeper. Then came a turning point. That was in December of 2012. Rachel Sheoff had a breakdown, screaming during a 911 call. She was admitted to a psychiatric facility. Days after being released, she walked into her lawyer's office and confessed to the murder. She led police to the burial site. Skylar's remains were found on January 16, 2013, in Greene County, Pennsylvania, less than 30 miles from home. That's sad. Now, Rachel Sheoff was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. She expressed remorse, writing in her diary the day after the murder, asking God for forgiveness. She was sentenced to 30 years in prison with parole eligibility after 10. Sheila Eddy, on the other hand, showed no remorse. She continued to tweet cryptically during the investigation and maintained her innocence. Eventually, she was charged as an adult and pleaded guilty to first degree murder in January 2014. She received a life sentence with parole eligibility after 15 years. Now, Skylar's disappearance led to change because no Amber Alert was issued. West Virginia lawmakers passed Skylar's law in 2013. Now, what this law does is it allows law enforcement to issue immediate public alerts for missing children believed to be in danger, even if abduction isn't confirmed. It was a step toward protecting other children from being overlooked. Now, Skylar Neese trusted her best friends. She had plans for the future, but in a premeditated act of cruelty, her life was stolen by the people she loved the most. This case is a sobering reminder that betrayal can come from those closest to us. Thank you for listening, you guys, to Murder, Blood, and Psychopaths. If you find Skylar's story moving, please consider sharing this episode and supporting protection initiatives in your community, guys. I appreciate that you guys come and listen on the podcast. And this case, honestly, like I said, it really provoked something in me to the point that I was like, with friends like that, who needs enemies? And you've known this girl since you were 8 years old. So who knew that she felt like that? That both these girls that you hang around with, unsuspecting, that these girls will literally turn on you, and not just turn on you like, oh, let's shun her, let's not talk to her, kind of that. Like, they actually committed actual premeditated murder. It was planned. And only one of the girls did show remorse. And I do believe, like, obviously, she was taken into a psych ward, like she couldn't take it anymore. I guess like when you have a guilty conscience or whatnot, but the other one just didn't and got mercy on her soul. And it's unfortunate that the friends that you think are your friends are really not your friends. And this is a grim reminder that the people closest to you don't always want what's best for you. Even your own family could stab you in the back. I've heard crazy stories about family just not caring about boundaries, and they get mad once you establish boundaries and things like that. Or even with friends, and to think that Skylar thought that these girls were her friends was crazy. Really crazy because I could, like, you're sneaking out, trusting these girls. Like, there is nothing in her like demeanor because I saw this case. I'm not sure if it was on ID Discovery, but I remember that I did see this case. And I do remember the surveillance, and it showed her like literally climbing out of the window and voluntarily going into the car. Like there was nothing about it that seemed like she should be on alert or anything like that. She was just, hey, like these are my friends. Let me go hang out with them. Cool, cool, cool. She had plans to come back, and next thing you know, I'm pretty sure that as soon as her back was turned and she realized what these girls were doing, like I'm pretty sure she felt sheer terror, betrayal, honestly. And that really does suck. But you guys, the most I can tell you guys is be mindful of who you trust. Because not every face that you see out there can be trusted. I've been betrayed, and it sucks that the people you think you can confide in, or if you know, in a moment of weakness, you do something really stupid, confide in someone, and all of a sudden they share something that they weren't supposed to. And it's like, that has like devastating effects. And people don't realize that in doing those things, that they're fucking up someone else's life. And it sucks, right? However, I understand people don't owe you anything. Fine, cool, great. However, if these people are people you either trusted or they were your friends or whatever, then hello. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't want something to be done to me. And it will suck. So don't do to others what you don't want it to be done to you. I've always lived by that. But guys, I'm gonna try and put out another episode. But you guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Murder, Blood, and Psychopaths. Until next time, you guys, I love you guys. Thank you for supporting. Please pass the podcast along. Love you guys. Until next time, bye.